Few days after Kite's arrest, the incidents of corrupt persons being punished begins. Pierre, who had lost his memory due to forfeit of Get Note's ownership, asks Yellow to begin investigation about the case. Then Yellow, who had torn some pages of Pierre's Get Note, asks Pierre to touch it and his memories return. Although, as the notebook is not in the human world, so those pages could no longer be used. Now Pierre remembers everything about Kite and the Get Note. Pierre suspects that Yellow may also be involved in this case. On seeing the torn pages, Pierre thinks that Yellow might have used these pages in his absence when he had boarded the flight to catch Kite. But at the same time, Yellow could have warned Kite about Pierre's Minigami eyes, so Kite forfeited the ownership of his Get Note and got saved. On the contrary, Pierre thought that Yellow also used his Get Note to add coins in Kite's bag to make Kite suspicious but without solid proof and evidence. Now Pierre has a big problem to deal to catch the real culprit but also work and share everything about the investigation with Yellow. So, how would he solve the case? Pierre is not sure about the existence of another Get Note. He suspects that Kite might have planned with Yellow or some other partner to start using the Get Note as soon as he is arrested. Now, Pear thinks of another plan. He thinks to release Kite and plans to observe his actions. As those torn pages are now useless, so Yellow cannot interfere, provided Kite might not have given some pages of his own Get Note. Kite is released on grounds of lack of solid proof. While forfeiting the ownership of Get Note in the flight, Kite had asked Minigami to bury the notebook at a specific place. He would not have remembered this if on the airport Pierre had not asked him to sign on the documents which actually brought back his memory. A big coincidence. Now Kite gets his notebook back. But Kite had no idea about what is happening and who is the one punishing corrupt officials presently. Pierre concludes after his investigation that all what he was thinking is absolutely wrong. There was no suspicious activity of Kite and of Yellow. Now he thinks about some third person to be involved in this case. As both Kite and Pierre are not aware of what is happening, Pierre suggests Kite to work with him to catch the new culprit. Kite thinks it to be a golden opportunity as now he could put all the blame of what he had done on that new owner of GetNote. Actually, another GetNote was dropped in the human world. This time it was Lisa. She wanted to meet that person who punished the minister who had killed her parents. So, she was worshipper of that person which she did not know was Kite. So, she started using her Get Note with the hope to meet him someday. Lisa also did the Minigami eye deal, so she could easily spot the man who was the Get Note owner. One day, while sitting in a restaurant, she spots Kite and using her Minigami eyes, she gets to know that Kite is the real owner of the Get Note. Lisa follows him to his home and meets him. She tells that she loves him and also was ready to do anything for him. Kite decides to use her for his advantage. He asks her to hand over some pages of her Get Note. Pierre was already keeping an eye on Kite, so he felt suspicious about Lisa and suspects her to be his partner in crime. The very next day, Pierre announces the arrest of Lisa to be the second culprit. On being forced to accept that she was doing all this, she flatly refused. Now even Kite was arrested. Both Lisa's and Kite's house were checked, but the notebook was not found. Pierre bluffed that he found the notebook in Lisa's house. Kite was in big trouble. He had asked Lisa not to keep it in her home. But now, what could he do? Pierre shows him the notebook and keeps it on the table. He says that Kite has 5 minutes to decide to accept that he was guilty and leaves the room. Now, Kite, who had kept Lisa's torn page hidden in his watch, decides to write some value as Get Note could now be used after 12 hours. And now Pierre could not prove that notebook kept on table was real. Pierre comes back and reveals that the notebook was fake. He had purposely left the notebook as it had a spy cam installed on it, which captured Kite's activities. To be very sure, Pierre tested those pages after 12 hours, and yes, he succeeded. Now, finally, the game is over.